Hello, everybody. Welcome to our weekly iBUG Buzz for Monday, August 2nd, 2021. Wow. It's almost time to go back to school, or if, in the case of my grandkids, they're already in school. I'm Stephen Kerr, and I will be your host for the first hour of our call, and then Sandhya will take over for the second hour. And we are glad you're here because we cover all things iOS on this call, that being the iPhone, the iPad, iPod Touch, Apple TV, Apple Watch, and many apps and accessories that are related to those devices. Now, we don't cover questions about the Mac on this call. We have a separate call on the fourth Tuesday of each month for that. But this is all about iOS. So we will field your questions on that here in just a bit. But first, let me go over some quick guidelines before we get started. As you probably heard when you entered our Zoom room, this call is being recorded. And this is for podcast purposes, as well as on Sight and to Sound Radio. You can find it anywhere that you subscribe to podcasts. It's also on our website. So with that in mind, we ask that you stay muted until you wish to speak. And this is just to ensure the quality of the call. We just want to keep any background noise to a minimum. If we have to tell you several times to mute because of too much noise, we do reserve the right to put you in the virtual waiting room. I don't think we've had to do that not since I've been on this call, at least not in a while. So please show some courtesy by staying on mute if you're not asking or answering a question. Also, we don't use the raise hand feature on Zoom like many other calls do. It's very simple. If you want to ask or answer a question, all you have to do is state your name and then wait for either me or Sandhya to recognize you, and then you can start speaking. Now, when someone's talking, be sure and wait for them to finish before speaking. We don't want to interrupt anybody, want them to completely finish their thought. Once you've asked a question, try to refrain from asking additional questions or comments, just to make sure we give everybody a chance to participate. And those are all the guidelines. We don't have too many rules, but just a few to kind of keep things in order and make the call go as smoothly as possible. All right, before we start taking your questions, I am going to briefly turn it over to the iBUG guy for some quick announcements. As always, we have a lot of things going on in iBUG, so Mr. Michael McCulloch, take it away if you would, sir.
All right, thank you, Stephen. Yes, we have lots going on, especially this week. I think we've got something going on every single night of the week this week. So hang on to your hats as we go through them. But before I go through them, I was just curious if there's anybody from Germany on the call. I don't think so. When I looked down the list, I didn't notice anybody. So it'll be okay if I trash talk them since the U.S.
Sauerkraut, does that count?
the U.S. is playing Germany in the women's beach volleyball right now. So anyway, I was cheering them on before I came on the call. All right, let's get started. Let's see, where's a good place to start? How about tomorrow night, Tuesday, August the 3rd? We have our usual iBUG mini buzz on Clubhouse. The shortened version of this call tonight is on the Clubhouse, that open Q&A help session for iOS questions and issues. That starts at 5 p.m. Central Time. All the times I mentioned will be Central. Then Wednesday, back on Clubhouse again, we have iBUG Mac Buzz. That's our open Q&A help session for people that have questions regarding, guess what? Mac OS and Mac hardware, led by Herbie Allen. And that's, again, starts at 5 p.m. Central Time. Then moving on to Thursday, we have iBUG Trekkie Talk. That'll be back here on this same Zoom conference line. That'll be at 8 p.m. Central. And we are currently pre-watching the episodes of Discovery Series Season 2, episodes 5 and 6. So you still got plenty of time to watch those and join us for the discussion, or you can just join us for the discussion. We don't discriminate anyone from Trekkies, non-Trekkies, Trekkie wannabes, you can all come in and join us on Thursday evening. Friday, we have our fun-filled iBUG night at the virtual movies. Our pre-social time is 7:30 p.m. And then at 8 p.m., we have the movie. And immediately following the movie is our discussion and review and trivia. And stick around for the halftime show for the big reveal of what this week's movie will be. Then Saturday, we'll be back on Clubhouse. Seems like we're going to be on Clubhouse quite a bit this week. We have at 8 p.m. Central iBUG Unplugged. And our topic this week this month is summertime memories. Those fun memories that you had, maybe like, if you chased down the ice cream truck in your neighborhood to get an ice cream, or those favorite backyard games during the summer, those summertime foods that you just hated, all that good kind of stuff. We're going to be having lots of fun talking about all of those old memories. Then Sunday, we have our monthly iBUG Cafe. Sri Roy, our facilitator for that, will be leading a great discussion on various couple of apps that use tags and scanning and labeling of different things. So that should be great. I think the Way Around app and Navalins are the two that we're going to be featuring on Sunday. And that is at 4 p.m. Central, right back here on this same Zoom line. So if you didn't get all that, you can always go to our website, ibugtoday.org, ibugtoday.org, and find out all the information about upcoming events, as well as recordings of all of our different training sessions, get information about other news. Also, if you want to get on our mailing list, there's a place right there on the front page. You can click on the link that says register to join iBUG and fill out the little form, just your name and email, and that'll get you on the list and you'll be notified of upcoming events. So let's see. Also, we have a Facebook page, both a regular Facebook page at facebook.com/iBugToday and a groups page that you can join, facebook.com/groups/iBugToday. And that's a great place not only to get information, but such as announcements and news and rumors and that kind of thing. But also, if you have questions in between these Monday night calls, you can post them there and get those answered in short order. So with all that I'm going to turn it back over to you, Stephen.
All right. Thank you, Mr. McCulloch. Great stuff, man. There is a lot going on in iBUG. Hope y'all wrote it down, because there's going to be a quiz during the halftime show. No, just kidding. Just the movie clues during the halftime show. All right. Well, let's give everybody a chance to introduce themselves, as we normally do before we start taking questions. Remember, you will have to unmute, but let's just go around and tell us who you are, where you're calling from. If you came in the middle of the call and didn't hear who I am, you should know, but I'll tell you anyway. I'm Stephen from Austin. I'll get it started off. Who'd like to go next?
Elisa in Porter, Texas.
Hi, Elisa. Welcome.
Hi, this is Judy in Connecticut.
Hi, Judy. Welcome.
Hello.
Patrick in
from
Connecticut.
Kyle.
Patrick and Ned. Welcome to both of you.
This is Brad in Dallas.
Hey, Brad.
This is Dan in San Diego.
Hi, Dan. Welcome.
This is Herbie in Houston.
Hey, Herbie. Welcome.
This is
Chanel.
Mark in Montreal.
Hi, Mark. Welcome. And who else was?
Susan
Chanel.
Sumler from Houston.
Susan and Chanel. But welcome to both of you.
And Hal, Montreal.
Hal, welcome.
Thank you.
Who else was speaking about the same time Hal was? I believe someone else was.
Roy from Fort Worth.
Hey, Roy, welcome.
This is Jim in PA. I'm
Uh,
glad to introduce myself. It's nice to meet me.
Yeah, it's nice to meet me too, Jim. Welcome.
This is Dee from Southern Illinois,
D.
51st state.
Yes, the 51st state. Absolutely. Welcome, D.
Thank you.
Carol in San Antonio.
Hi, Carol. Welcome.
Hi.
Sandhya from Houston.
Sandhya, my partner in crime.
All right.
Welcome.
Arlene, North Carolina.
Arlene, hi there. Welcome.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Thanks.
Sri from Virginia.
There you are, Sri. Welcome. Anyone else that hasn't had a chance to say hello?
Thomas from Grand Junction, Colorado.
Hey, Thomas. Welcome. Glad to have you. All right. Anyone else? All right. Well, if you didn't get a chance this time, we can always do it on the halftime show as well. So without further ado, I know you have questions, so let's open it up for questions. Just remember, there are no dumb questions, so don't be shy. Who would like to be the first one to ask a question tonight? Go right ahead.
This is Patrick.
Okay,
Oh,
Elisa.
wait, go ahead. Go ahead,
I'll let
Lisa.
Elisa, and then I'll come to you, Patrick. Elisa, go ahead with your question.
So if you have say if you have emails, right? And you have like a lot of emails, well, not emails necessarily, but say if you have like, you know how your emails are set up, like trash, junk, and then it has the little archives or whatever that's called.
Right.
Isn't there another part of the emails where you can remove your messages too? Or maybe it's just me thinking that, I'm not sure.
Okay, so you're wanting to, you think part of the email box, there aren't all the boxes are showing up, the mailboxes?
I don't think so. I don't see all the, unless I'm looking at the mailbox wrong from the Apple phone, the Apple Mail app.
Okay, so you're using the Apple Mail app then. Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. Who would like to help Elisa out with this question? Feels like she's not getting all her mailbox information.
This is Roy.
Go ahead, Roy.
I think what you're talking about, Elisa, is that you're not seeing your standard boxes. Whoops. There we go. Sorry, I mute my speech.
Yeah, that's okay.
If you'll touch up on the status line and do a single finger double tap, that'll put your focus back up at the top where your emails are.
This is Elisa. Thank you for that answer, Roy, because sometimes my emails like tend to move around and I'm like, why does it do this?
Just means you're maybe a page or two down instead of at the very top.
This is Elisa, maybe so.
Double tapping on the status bar will bring your focus back to the very top of your mailboxes.
Okay. Very good. Any other comments or suggestions that she can use? Yeah, that's great, Roy. So Elisa, I'm just, is it actual emails that you feel like you're not getting, or the number of mailboxes in your group?
Elisa, it's like the number of emails. Sometimes it gets like really full and it's hard to delete. Sometimes also.
Gotcha. Well, try that out and see if that helps. And if not, come back with us and we'll see if we can find some other suggestions.
Thank you, everybody. This is Elisa, and I'm done speaking.
All right. Thank you very much. Great question. All right. Next question. Who would like to go and ask the next question? Patrick. That's
Thomas.
right. Patrick, we'll come to you next. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. With my iPhone SE, I can Bluetooth easily, but when I try to Bluetooth a room from Clubhouse, it just stays on my phone. It doesn't connect to the speaker, even though it is connected. So I wonder why that is. I can do my music, YouTube, anything that you can Bluetooth, but Clubhouse, I can't get it to work.
Okay. Any help for Patrick of why you can't Bluetooth on Clubhouse like you can on other apps?
This is Brad.
Has this happened more than once, Patrick? Is it happening every time you're going into Clubhouse?
Yeah, I've tried it numerous times so at this point, I don't even try now. I just say, well, I must be missing a setting, I guess. I don't know what that setting would be. Because like I said, I could do my music as soon as I turn on usually with my phone, I generally use one speaker rather than my other systems. But so when I turn the speaker on, it automatically connects. So, but with Bluetooth, it does not. You know, everything else that you could Bluetooth does work. So yeah, it happens numerous times, each and every time I've tried it, you know.
This is Sandhya.
Go ahead, Sandhya.
Brad had a comment.
Okay, Brad, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. Go ahead, Brad.
That's okay. That's all right. Patrick, what kind of speaker are you using?
This is it's a few years old now. It's a Bose SL.
There you go. Bose. That's what I'm looking for.
Oh,
There has
okay.
been something that I don't truly understand it. I have a Bose speaker device and I have some other non-Bose speaker device, and something happened at iOS. I think it started in iOS 13, where some sounds like music goes to the speaker, but other sounds, like I've noticed mostly it's voiceover, doesn't go. I've not experienced this because I've never used my Bose device with Clubhouse, but it's possible that the Clubhouse audio is treated differently than music. Have you tried a different device?
I haven't. Yeah, I could do that. You know, it's interesting. You can say what you say about voiceover too, because even when I'm listening to music or the baseball game, voiceover stays on the phone.
Correct.
And the rest goes on the speaker. It's strange.
Exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
That's
it's
very
really
weird.
weird. A couple of times it did go to the speaker, but usually it does not. And I say, huh, that's interesting. But as
Well,
long as the game or the music goes, that's fine with me, you know?
yeah, it used to be pretty consistent in iOS 13, and it wasn't at the beginning of iOS 14. It was in one of the
This is
point
Herbie.
upgrades. It kind of changed a little bit, and you might see if audio routing is in your rotor, and that may affect it. I used to use a Bose speaker for something, and the behavior became inconsistent, and I've stopped using it for that application, but it was pretty consistent for a while. That music or other content would come out of the speaker while voiceover came out of the phone. And I'm wondering if that's what you got going on. I mean, I would think that what happened for me was when it changed at one of the point updates in iOS 14 is all the content started coming out of the speaker again, like it used to. But I would look at your audio routing thing is what I'm thinking.
Oh, I'll do that. And I'll check out
rotor.
another Bluetooth device too, just to see if it goes there. I haven't done that, but yeah, thank you so much.
Some of mine do it and some of mine don't. I got an old Jawbone Big Gem box and the firmware in it's pretty old, so it doesn't do it. But I noticed the Bose. So I know Herbie's got a Bose. He may have a comment on that.
Yeah, I was going to say, Herbie, let's see what Herbie has to say because he did pipe up a minute ago. Herbie, go ahead.
I had asked.
He's coming.
Herbie,
He's coming.
but that's
Okay, no problem. All right, we'll wait for Herbie.
All right. So first of all, Brad actually did mention one thing I was going to mention, audio destination. But another question I have for you, Patrick, does your Bose speaker have the ability to take phone calls?
Oh, I don't really know.
Because I
forget.
Because I have a really old Bose speaker that I got like in 2014.
That's what mine is for 14. Yeah.
Then I think what's going on is if yours is like mine, it does not have it does not have a microphone. it is a peer speaker, and I think certain apps look for that speaker microphone connection, which that speaker probably does not have.
Oh, okay. So I'll try it on another Bluetooth device. Yeah, because I
Yes.
listen on Clubhouse to a lot of music rooms, so it'd be nice to hear it through a speaker. So yeah, I'll try
Well,
another
one of the things you
device.
could try if you can't get audio destination to work, one thing that probably would work is the auxiliary port.
Oh, as in plugging in, you mean?
Yeah, plugging in.
Oh, okay.
That's
Oh,
another way.
interesting. Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's a workaround you could definitely do.
Oh, great. Okay.
This is Sandhya.
But yeah,
sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, but just keep in mind that the advantage you'll have with plugging in over getting it to work with Bluetooth anyway is Bluetooth is gonna distort the audio. So, plugging in is actually gonna make music through Clubhouse sound a little bit better. But I think it's because that old Bose speaker does not have a microphone, and that's why Clubhouse is not working with the Bluetooth audio. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Interesting. Excellent. Well, thanks everyone.
Okay, sure. Go ahead, Sandhya.
Oh no, I think Mark had a comment, and just
Okay.
a reminder, everybody, just try not to talk over each other. I know it's natural because it's a conversation, but to make the integrity of the recording, we really don't want to interrupt or step on each other. So thank you.
Right. All right. Very good. Go ahead, Mark.
This is something that they've talked about in Clubhouse, not so much in Paul's town halls, but in the walkthroughs with Abraxas and company. When you go into, after raising your hand and go into a room, you notice that your phone quality changes because it's changing the protocol on the phone. Whether you use low, medium, or high quality audio, your phone is going into a sort of phone mode because that's what it uses for Clubhouse. It's using the phone protocol of your phone to act as the variable for Clubhouse. So I have a Sony stereo, for instance, that I got in 2017. It will not play Clubhouse in Bluetooth through it. I tried that and it does not work. And that's why, though, when you go into a room and raise your hand and you hear that dead air for about 3 seconds, it's changing over. And if you change the audio quality from, say, normal to high, then it happens again for about 5 seconds. It's because it's going through your phone. You notice that the quality of the room is much better before you raise your hand. It's like almost studio broadcast quality until you raise your hand. And it doesn't seem to, it changes the quality a little bit when you go from normal to high, but it sounds more like a phone. If you're using it on the phone, on the headphones, well, I don't know. I very seldom use headphones for Clubhouse, but that's the main reason why it will not. It may work with some Bluetooth devices, like Herbie says, with a microphone, but chances are it ain't going to work. So don't get your hopes up on that one. This is Mark in Montreal. I'm done speaking.
All right. Thank you very much,
This is
Mark.
Sri.
Sri, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to continue what Herbie said. If you ever want to know if your headphone has a microphone or not, if you take the tip, the 3.5 millimeter tip, and you take a fingernail, if you only feel one token ring, then it means it's just a headphone. But if you feel 2 token rings, then you know it's this headphone and a microphone.
Wow. That's very interesting. Very interesting technique. Very good, Sri. Thanks very much. Okay.
This is
Anything else?
Dee.
Go ahead, Dee.
Yeah, what's a token ring?
Well,
Go ahead,
this is
Sri.
Sri. I mean, it's just the way that the audio is presented, but I was just explaining just so that you know that if your headphones has a microphone or not, you just kind of feel for it. And one is assigned to the speaker and one would be assigned to a microphone. I'm not an engineer, but that's how it works.
Like the little rounded tip on the end.
That's
Kinda.
correct. It's a ring that's you could feel.
Like a ring shape. Yeah, that's what he's talking
That's right.
about, D.
Okay.
Okay. It's a good question, though. All right. Any other suggestions? This is an interesting phenomenon, I must admit. But any other comments or suggestions about the Bluetooth issue?
Mark again in Montreal, just
okay.
for a quick second.
Go ahead, Mark.
This thing that Brad was talking about voiceover coming on the phone, I think that started, as I recall, with maybe the end of iOS 13 or definitely the beginning of 14 when that changed. And I know I went into some music and it wasn't playing and my voiceover was still working. And I'm going, what the heck is wrong with this thing? That's not making a connection or what? But then I tried somewhere else and I had the stereo turned up too loud. And all of a sudden this music comes booming out of the stereo and shook the whole building practically. I think I could have gotten evicted, but anyway, you know, it was my fault, but the voiceover was still working on the phone and I'm going, oh, okay, that's a change that I didn't know was going to happen. You know, so it's been around for a while and it's not a bug. It's just the way it's newly set up that way to allow people to do other things with their phone while they're listening to music or whatever on their speakers. So it enables you to multitask. I'm done.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Great stuff.
Yeah,
Thank you so
probably
much.
we could
We'll
probably
move
come
along.
back to,
Yep.
This is Sandhya. We could probably come back to Clubhouse after the first half. So
Right.
All right.
So any other Clubhouse questions? All right. Any other questions for tonight? A new topic. Susan, go ahead.
Yes. Been having this problem for a while, both on my iPad and iPhone. And it doesn't matter what I'm on, if it's websites or an app like Mail or Notes or et cetera, et cetera. I would be swiping and sometimes I go too fast, and then I'll slow down. But no matter which way I do it, the speech would just stop and I'll try to make it speak again, swipe back and forth and it just makes a noise. I don't know, click, click or something, whatever. And sometimes it'll come on after a good while, a few minutes, and sometimes it won't come back on at all. And so I would turn the device off, on either one, whichever I'm on, and then get back on it, and it would still be that way. So I would just well, of course I would close it out. And then if it's still doing that, then I would just close it out and stay out for a few hours or something and get back on it. And sometimes it'll start working again. So I'm just wondering if I'm just getting it off focus or if it's a speech problem. It's probably me doing something wrong. Anyway, that's the question.
Okay, so just to clarify, you're swiping pretty rapidly and then you stop and that's when you lose voiceover?
68% it doesn't matter which way I do it. A lot of times I like to listen to the speech reading my mail, for an example, or something on the internet, like today I bought a few things from Amazon and I would swipe, or, if I want to go listen to whatever in email, I would rather swipe right and listen line by line.
Right.
Instead of it reading blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? So it could do it either way, fast or slow, medium, whatever.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Are there any suggestions for Susan of losing voiceover in the midst of swiping?
This is Kathy.
Kathy, hi, go ahead.
Hi. I seem to lose my voiceover a lot too. And do you do the 3-finger double tap to turn speech on? 'Cause
Yes, I've done that, and
does that
scrub.
work?
No, it works when it
Sometimes,
works.
well,
you know.
sometimes I try the 3 different things. Maybe most of the time I think the 3-finger double tap works, but sometimes I'll do click the side key 3 times, or just say to Siri, turn speech on. And sometimes she'll say speech is already on, but
Yeah, but see, I don't
then-
have that. It just won't speak. And I even had a friend over that saw that happen several times, and he's blind, and y'all know him. And even he didn't know. He didn't have a clue.
Another thing to always try is the pesky volume key. Sometimes it just seems like there are some odd things that happen with the iPhone. I mean, maybe it's
or
the
iPad. It doesn't matter which
or
device.
any iOS device, but don't forget, sometimes that volume is the thing that I don't know what possesses it, but sometimes trying the hit volume up a couple of times to make sure it just hasn't gone totally low and is actually working, but you can't hear it because the volume's low.
Yeah, good
But
point.
see, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Susan.
Those are my only ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, but that, well, I've tried several things, and when a friend was over here a few times, he would notice it too, and we would try different things. And like I said, I would just have to go in the app switcher and close it and wait a few minutes, open it up again, and it would still do that. I would try that 2 or 3 times, whatever, and then if it's still acting that way, then I would just close it out and wait several hours or maybe the next day and see, but yeah, a lot of times I just have to just give it up for a few hours till it decides to work.
So Shri.
Shri, go
It's
ahead.
Kelsey.
Yeah, Shri and then Kelsey. Go ahead, Shri.
So here's a couple of questions I have. Number one, you said that you do hear the haptic of it. You just don't hear the volume, correct?
No, it's not the volume. The speech just flat won't.
That's not my question. My question is, when there's no volume, do you hear haptic at all? Like, do you feel the vibration on your phone as you flick right? Or you hear nothing?
Well, I almost always use my iPad the most, but as for the phone, I always keep it flat down. I don't hold it, because my iPhone is like all the others I've ever had. It blinks in and out so badly, so I keep it flat. That doesn't always help it, but anyway, that's the only answer I can give you with that.
Okay, so I would say the next time it happens, hold the phone and flick right and see if you feel the haptic, because that's going to tell us something. If you don't feel the haptic, then it might tell us some other issue. Yeah, but the thing that I would suggest you to do if it does happen is, I would recommend you turn VoiceOver off and do a forced reboot, with your volume up, volume down, and power it off, and then power it back on, and then turn VoiceOver on. We want to have it run without VoiceOver with the reboot.
Okay, and that might help the speech when I go back into whatever I was doing.
Well, first we need to understand if you're really hearing no audio at all and no haptic.
Now, is a haptic that vibration when it shakes or something?
So if you have haptic turned on, every time you flick, you should also feel a little bit of vibration of it.
Okay, so what about the iPad?
I would do the same thing. Do you know if it vibrates when you flick right?
I've never known an iPad to vibrate before.
No, it has haptic too.
I never knew that.
Well, you might have turned it off then.
I don't know. I've been in the settings thousands of times. I've never even heard speech read it unless it's just somewhere that I don't go into.
No, when I'm saying is when you flick right you get audible and you get like a feel for it too. I'm just asking because I'm trying to figure out if you're hearing nothing or you just don't hear voiceover.
Well, it's
give that a try, Susan, and see if that will.
Yeah, we got to figure
figure
that out first before I could tell you to do the next
Yeah.
thing because
right.
Because a forced reboot might fix your problem. I would just do it without voiceover on when you reboot.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
right,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Let's
I
move
could
on
try
to
that.
Kelsey's
well-
question if she has a comment. Go ahead, Kelsey.
I just have a comment. Susan, have you, when this happens, have you tried locking your screen, waiting a couple seconds, and then trying to unlock it again? Because sometimes I've noticed too that when VoiceOver acts funny, sometimes just something as simple as locking the screen and unlocking again, it makes it work right again. So that might be another thing to try.
Yeah, I don't know. I never used to lock before. I know I had to use my 4-digit code, for the phone to unlock it. But no, I've never used or messed with lock before at all. And as for the iPad, I'm the same way with the iPad. I just keep it flat down. So if it vibrates, I don't have
Okay, we're getting a little background noise here. Let's.
All right, sorry, we had to mute everybody, and we are going to have to, draw this topic to a close. Stephen, almost. You got muted, Stephen. Okay, go ahead.
There we are. Yeah, we're gonna need to move forward here. So, Susan, try those techniques and see if they work, and then come back and let us know if they don't. All right, new question, new topic. Who would like to go next?
This is Marty.
Hey, Marty, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to know if anybody else has this issue. When you went in the Amazon shopping app, there was a search thing at the top. So you clicked on that, and of course you could put your search string in, or if you didn't do that, when you went further down the screen, it showed your last 10 searches. About the last 2 or 3 weeks, I haven't seen that. It's just a blank screen. So instead of, because sometimes I do sometimes I do find something in my last 10 searches. So I just click on that rather than putting the search string in again. But now I have to put a search string in every time I'm looking for something.
Okay. Any comments about the search string issue? Why he's having that problem?
This is Sri.
Hi, Sri, go ahead.
I just purchased something today, and in my search box had the history of my recent searches.
Where were those searches? Like, were they below?
I just double tapped on the search box, and my history search came up before I even entered anything.
Yeah, I thought, I looked at settings thinking maybe its setting had changed, that because you can go into your Amazon and you can see like items recently viewed, but like I said, the search is I don't know how it is with you, but it was like the last 10 searches.
This is Jody.
Jody, go ahead.
I just tried it right now, and I got the list of all the things that I've looked at recently. It worked.
Marty, has this been happening a lot, or is this the first time it's happened to you?
No, it's happened about the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
This is Brad.
Go ahead, Brad.
Marty, do you share your Amazon account with anybody else? Like, for example, you got a wife who maybe looks at the Amazon account on the computer, or
well, my wife's been on my account, but she only looks at it like on her phone or her iPad.
Yeah, my wife one time looks at on the web browser on her desktop Mac, and one time she cleared the search history on her, computer via Safari, and it cleared the history that I saw on my Amazon app.
Okay,
And
but
I
then
said,
when
please
you
don't do that anymore.
then when you did future searches, did they start
Yeah,
accumulating
yeah,
again?
they started repopulating.
Yeah, see, mine haven't done that.
Interesting.
I'm not sure what to tell you.
Anybody
Yeah.
else?
I
have
just
a
looked at
suggestion?
mine and I got a bunch of stuff in there. But as
Oh,
soon as
thanks.
you start to type something, all those old ones go away and it starts to populate.
Right. Yeah. No, I
Yeah,
looked
okay.
before I typed. Yes, but thanks.
Okay.
But this is Nikki.
Nikki, go ahead.
Recently, I've been getting these messages saying that your browser, the things will not stay in your browser because of something I did, although I have no idea what I did. So I don't have the same kind of tracking that I did for my own stuff either. So I'd be interested in knowing how to change that back, because it's a lot easier to go back to stuff if you've already been there than to have to redo it. So thank you.
Okay. Anybody else on this topic? All right. Well, Marty, it's a mystery.
Yeah.
Let us know if it's still happening to you.
Yeah, it's nothing earth shattering. I mean, I just type it in again.
Just have to go that extra step. All right. Well, let's move on to a new topic, a new question. Who would like
Okay,
to go
from Hal.
next? Hal, go ahead, sir.
Okay, I have an
question.
iPhone.
Somebody else is talking.
Okay, we've got too much background noise. You guys need to stay on mute.
Sorry. Okay, come back in, Stephen, and whoever else.
Okay, I don't know if you heard me, but let's please stay on mute unless you are speaking. Because it is.
Okay, hold on. I think Hal was before you.
Yep. Hal, you're not.
Okay.
Go ahead, Hal. Sorry about that. You'll need to unmute, Hal. Sorry about that. Give him a second here. Yeah, that's why it's so important to stay on mute, because then we have to all mute everyone. And so then we have to come back. So please try to show courtesy and stay muted unless you're speaking. Okay, Hal, are you unmuted?
Am I
There
unmuted?
you are. Yep, we got you now.
Okay,
Go
yeah,
ahead, Hal. Sorry.
Sandy, help me. I am using an iPhone 12 mini, and I noticed since last night, after taking the most recent update, when I do a triple click with the side button, it used to turn on and off voiceover. It was like a toggle. Now when I do a triple click, it gives me an alert saying accessibility shortcuts, and it says hearing devices, cancel, selected, voiceover. So, but for some reason the voiceover won't turn it on and off with the triple click anymore. Now I don't know what to do.
Okay, Brad, I think you have the
Brad,
answer. Go ahead.
You have a hearing aid, right?
Yes.
And you have your hearing aids paired with your iPhone.
Yes. Well, sometimes I have them not paired. I have the Bluetooth off.
Well, but they're in there. And because I have a hearing aid and I don't always use it, but I don't want it in my accessibility shortcut. But I have mine set so that when I triple click the side button, it toggles smart invert on and off. Because I never turn voiceover off, so I don't worry about that one. But every time there's an iOS update of any kind or another, it always adds my hearing aid device to the accessibility shortcut. And I try and remember that every time there's an update, I need to go to accessibility settings, go to the accessibility shortcut and toggle off the hearing aid, whatever it's called, whatever you just
I'll
said
give
it.
that a shot because I haven't.
And it'll do it every time. It's and so that's what's happening there.
Okay, thanks. Okay, because
He
I knew
does.
there was something, because I haven't updated in weeks. I won't go into it, but I haven't updated in weeks, and I just got new hearing aids a month ago. And then I took the update last night, and I'm like, what's this? Because it was working before perfectly. Sometimes I like to turn off voiceover.
Yeah,
like,
it'll do it
and-
every time there's an update. It's going to add that hearing device. And then
okay.
when there's more than one thing in your accessibility shortcuts turned on, when you do the triple click, you get a little menu to pick which of the things that's turned on in accessibility shortcuts you want to toggle on or off. And if you just have one, you don't get that menu. But if you've got two or more, you're going to get that menu. That's one of the reasons I don't have voiceover in it, because what I want to do is toggle smart invert on and off on the fly. And so that's the only one I want in there.
Okay,
So
yeah,
that's-
because there are workarounds to this, but I guess I just like to have the option of doing it the way I always was able to, and then now
Yeah,
it
of course.
disappeared. So okay, well, thank you very much.
All
I'm done
right.
speaking.
Thank you for your question, Hal. And Brad, thanks for helping him out. We appreciate it. All right, let's move on to a new question, a new topic. Who would like to be next?
Hey y'all, it's Shelby in Baytown. How's it going?
Hey, Shelby, good to have you. You have a question?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Bluetooth and the iOS update. I noticed that when you take phone calls, or like let's say for example Clubhouse or phone calls, the Bluetooth will not take, but it will take like my Bluetooth earbuds. They'll take music and other audio, but it will not take Clubhouse or phone call. And it's been doing that for the past, like it's off and on for the past few updates. And I don't know if anyone else uses their headsets for, voice communication. But I've noticed it's been doing that a lot lately with updates.
So are you saying with your Bluetooth speaker?
But earbuds. Now, funny enough, it's not doing it to my speaker, but it's doing it to my earbuds.
Okay. I just
That's
asking.
funny.
Yeah, well, I was asking because just a little while ago, we had that same question about Clubhouse and Bluetooth speakers. So I just want to
Well,
make sure it wasn't
it's
duplicated.
it's not the Bluetooth speaker, and it's
the earbuds.
for phone calls as well. I've
Okay.
noticed that the speaker will take it, but the earbuds, any other like earpieces, they won't. It won't. I don't know. It's weird.
Okay, just wanting to make sure it wasn't a duplicate question. All right, who'd like to help Shelby out?
This is Brad.
Go ahead. Jody, why don't we go to Jody and then Brad will come back to you. Go ahead, Jody.
Okay, yeah, well, I've had that happen too, especially recently. So all I'm doing is I'll turn my earbud off and turn it back on again, and then it will pick up on the earbud again. But I've noticed that recently too.
Okay. Brad, go ahead.
I was going to ask her to clarify, and maybe with Jody's response, Jody understood the question better. She's saying that when she puts the earbuds in, she's not picking up. They're not, the signals, the sound isn't transferring, because what I've been experiencing since iOS 14 came along is I may have Clubhouse on, I may be on a phone call, whatever I'm doing. And when I finish the phone call or finish with Clubhouse, I don't have any voiceover. I don't have any sound in them. And I find that if I lock the phone and then unlock it, it comes back. So I don't know if that's what Shelby's issue is. But I'm also finding out that sometimes I will put in my AirPods and the sound, my AirPod Pro on my phone. It doesn't matter what I'm doing with it. Clubhouse, just music, a podcast, whatever. The sound isn't transferring right away like it always has done. And maybe that's because I've had another Bluetooth device hooked up to the phone, and now I'm using the AirPod Pro, but I'm finding that I have to open the settings, go to Bluetooth, find the device, even though it says it's connected, I have to tap on it, and sometimes I have to toggle Bluetooth off and then back on. I don't know. There's something going on in iOS 14. That's all I got.
Yes, indeed. All right.
It's Shelby again.
Go ahead, Shelby.
Everything that you're describing, Brad, it's it's like that, but it's like I can play music and I can have podcasts or books going, but try to put me on Clubhouse or try to put me in a FaceTime call or any type of call or Facebook, any type of, I can do Facebook Lives, but any type of call, it just won't work. But everything else, like playback, voiceover, everything else is working just fine. And I've tried turning them off and on. I've tried turning off and on Bluetooth. I've done everything short of, including including forgetting and repairing my Bluetooth earbuds. It has to be the iOS 14 update, the entire 14 software. Okay,
All
cool
right.
cats.
This
All
is
right.
Jody.
Jody, go ahead.
Yeah, you guys are doing it the hard way. Just, rather than going into settings on the phone, just turn your earbuds off and then turn your earbud back on again, and it should connect again. But because I've had the same thing happen. Oh, you did that? Okay. Yeah, and the same thing I've noticed with when you hang up a call, it turns voiceover off for a certain period of time. So I turn the lock screen on and off again, and that usually clears that up.
Okay. Any other suggestions for Shelby?
This is Kathy.
Kathy, go ahead.
When I don't have that problem. I have the AirPod Pro, and they seem to be working okay. But of course, now that's a kiss of death. But when I get a phone call or when I make a call, it feels like when I put the phone in my ear, it says mute, and then I'm thinking that's why when I finish the call, sometimes I have to turn voiceover on again. I use the 3-finger double tap. Is that is that happening to everybody? Like, does the phone mute when it gets on a call?
Okay.
Does anybody else hear that?
Any comments?
This is Shri.
Go ahead, Shri.
I'm a little concerned about some of these things because these seems like very unique issues with voiceover, because I don't have the issue with the mute. I don't really have issues that some of these things have been brought up. And I'm wondering whether the installation, when you upgraded, you didn't get a really complete or a good install. Because these sounds like issues that wasn't, a very good install came through. Like some hiccups is in the OS.
Okay.
Brad.
Go ahead, Brad.
The issues I've been experiencing began with the introduction of iOS 14 and have continued with every iOS 14 update.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and it could be unique to a certain, because we've had all kinds of voiceover question problems, and even Bluetooth, numerous questions about that through this update, but it is possible. Shri. Go ahead, Shri.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, because I did have to do I had to do a drastic thing. I had to do a factory reset on my new phone with a install through a computer, not even through the cloud, because we wanted to get a clean, fresh install. And after I did that, I hadn't had this problem, but I did have to have accessibility Apple Accessibility help me through this, because these were like things where they don't even know why we're having these. And the solution has been to maybe do a clean install, because some of these updates that you do going from 14.1 to 5 to 6 to 7, these are all through Wi-Fi, and sometimes you may not get a clean install.
Okay. All right. Well, Shelby, I hope some of this gives you a little bit of help. I guess the good news is in September, we should have another update, and hopefully this will be better.
Shelby, that's what they were telling me. Some friends of mine were saying that all these Bluetooth issues should be resolved by 15. But I just wanted to bring it up, make sure I'm not going to I'm not going crazy, and my phone's not going crazy.
No, you're not. It's not unique to you, I promise. But good question, and thanks for bringing it up. Let's.
Thanks, y'all.
Yeah, let's see if we can move forward with at least one more question. We have about 5 minutes till the midway point. So who would like to bring up the next topic or the next question?
This is Patrick.
Go ahead, Patrick.
If it's okay, since I already
ahead.
asked one, but someone earlier, I think it was Kelsey, mentioned locking the screen, and it made me think on my iPhone SE, it switches from landscape to portrait. Is there a way to lock that into one
It's
mode?
Shelby.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Shelby.
Okay, Patrick. So there should be a lock rotation on your control center. And you should be able to lock that into place. That way your phone could stay in the position that you want it. So you need to do your lock rotation. I think it's in your control center or yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Elisa?
Thank you, Patrick. Elisa?
You go in your settings I know that. And then that's where in the control center you open it, and that's when it'll tell you never lock or 5-minute lock. And then you double tap on the never lock if you want it to be never.
Oh,
is Herbie.
wonderful.
All right, Herbie.
This is Marty.
Okay, so Elisa, sorry to interrupt. You're actually talking about something totally different than what Patrick was asking about, and Shelby.
I'm sorry.
No,
That's
it's okay.
okay.
I was going to briefly explain so everybody understands. I'm not putting anybody down. I promise. So what Patrick was asking about is lock rotation, and that's keeping your phone from going from portrait to landscape, which, as Shelby said, you'll find in the control center. What you were referring to is the auto lock, which is in settings and display. And what that does is when you have your phone unlocked, that determines how long your phone will remain unlocked. And that goes from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes or never. And that's auto lock. So that is the difference between the two. So I thought I'd want to point that out so there's no confusion there.
Okay. Very good. All right. Well, hopefully that'll help you out, Patrick. We have about a couple minutes left. Let's see if we can squeeze in one more question before the midway point and Sandhya takes over.
This is
Who'd like to go
Marty.
next. Marty, go ahead.
Marty. I have something unique. I don't know, but unique to me that goes on with my watch. But I set it to 24-hour mode just to see if I would like that or not. So after midnight, of course, it's 0 hours, in like 10 minutes or whatever. But when I do the haptic, it will do 24-hour, like the haptic thing. It will do 24 at the 0 hour. And then once it's at 1 a.m., it goes back to just doing 1 for 1 hour. Yeah. But I was surprised. I thought there would be no haptic feedback for the hour because it's at the 0 hour, like after midnight.
Okay.
This is Brad.
Go ahead, Brad.
I use 24-hour time too. It's been a long time since I've used haptic time because it just would go off all the time and it drove me crazy. So I turned it off. But yeah, I think it does that because it's got to have something in that place. It can't, I guess the way the code, the algorithm is written, it can't have nothing for the hours. So it's got to do something. So it's doing 24. That's
what
my
I
only
thought.
guess.
Thanks.
All right. Very good. Well, with that, I think it's a good time to hand it off to Sandhya. What do you think, Sandhya?
It's always a good time. Thank you. Thank you, Stephen. Wow, we
Right.
covered a lot of ground there in the first half.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now, anybody that joined us and didn't get to say hello the first time around, we'd love for you to say hello, who you are.
iBUG villain, Shelby in Baytown. How's it
All
going?
right, great. Glad to have you. Okay, who you are, say who your name and where you're from. Keep going. Who else?
Terry in Arlington Heights. I was having trouble getting in until just this minute.
All right, great. Thank you. Sorry you had trouble. Glad you're here. Okay, who's next?
Nikki from San Francisco.
All right, welcome. Okay. Anybody
Kathy
else?
from Tulsa.
Kathy, welcome.
Mr.
this is Jake from
Dana
Michigan.
in Cincinnati.
Mr. Dana and Jacob, welcome, y'all.
Thank you.
Who else? Anybody else? Want to say hi?
Kelsey's here.
Kelsey, welcome. And
Jody from New Hampshire.
Jody, welcome. All right.
Rose from Philadelphia.
Hello, Rose. Welcome to you. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Well, those of you, thank you for coming. And okay, I'm going to try to do this really quickly because there are a lot of events this week. So I don't want to, and then I know we're eager to get to the next exciting reveal. So tomorrow, Clubhouse, 5 to 6. Wednesday on Clubhouse again, 5 to 7, Mac Buzz. And then on Thursday, Trekkie Talk, 8 to 9:30. And then you got to watch the episodes ahead of time. And then on Friday, we have iBUG Night at the Virtual Movies. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. Saturday, back on Clubhouse, we have iBUG Unplugged, talking about those wonderful summer memories. Very thoughtful, I see. Okay, so that'll be at 8 o'clock Central on Clubhouse. And then on Sunday, iBUG Cafe from 4 to 6. We'll be talking about labeling apps. I'm really looking forward to this demo. It's going to be something that we deal with on a regular basis as blind people, how to find things that you are looking for. Okay, so going to be a really cool demo there, a couple of demos. So we're busy every day this week, and we're going to get to some fun now. So let's see. Oh, and just real quick, I forgot to mention, we do have a mentoring program. If you'd like to be a mentee and need help with your iPhone, if you're a beginner, then please complete the application on the website. If you're a mentor, if you have a good experience with the iPhone and would like to help somebody, we'd love to have you as well. We really appreciate everybody that's helping to make this mentoring program happen. All right. Okay, now I wonder if the iBUG guy is out there and ready to share those wonderful, undecipherable,
I think he fell
inscrutable
asleep. That's what I think.
Clues. I don't even know if we can call them clues or not. Do they qualify?
Sandhya, you forgot to mention the website.
Oh, yes. iBugtoday.org. Okay, hang on. iBugtoday.org. Thank you. iBUGTODAY.org is the best place to get all the information. If you missed anything that I just said, the upcoming tab is where you want to be. If you register, it doesn't cost anything, and you'll get all the notifications on a regular basis. All right, iBug guy, Mr. iBug guy, are you out there? Silence.
It shows he's here, but I bet he's asleep. I'm sure he fell asleep.
No, he's not asleep.
I hear something.
Mr. iBug guy. Oh my goodness.
Okay, maybe he's playing possum. That has to do it.
Got it. Oh my goodness. Every week it's something different. Okay, go ahead.
I just got
Mr.
finished running the
Right.
1,000 meter
1,000 meter?
backwards.
Were you in the Olympics and you didn't tell us?
Yeah, I tell you, you can do anything, you know. Machu Picchu, Olympics, no big deal. Okay, go ahead, Mr. McCullough.
All right. We are ready to start the next segment. But before we start,
oh no.
Cliches.
No, Mr. McCullough, we don't have time.
Cliches.
No.
Does anyone use them? I know everybody uses them. Well, I am going to start going against them. I am starting to have a, whatever you want to call it. Just because they fall off the tip of your tongue, you shouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole. Quit using cliches.
Quit using cliches. Okay.
All right. Let's get on with what we're here for next, or what I'm here for next.
All right, and just remember, sorry. What's the segment called? All right. Can't wait. Okay.
All right. So for a Friday night movie, we have another wonderful, fantastic feature this week. And I'm going to give you a few clues to try to guess. Please don't yell out the name of the movie. Just say your name, wait to be recognized by me, and then you can guess. So, our feature this week is about a group of brothers that were visual, temperamental, sonic, and exuded an angelic serenity.
Exuded?
Exuded. I don't even know
Fancy
what that
word.
means.
I think it means dripping.
Exudes, it comes out of you, oozes out of you, and oozes and something like that.
Okay, anybody have any ideas?
A group of brothers that were visual, temperamental, sonic, and exuded an angelic serenity. I can't speak.
Yeah, it's all that running you were doing, I guess. Okay.
This is
All
true.
right, go ahead, Sheree.
Four brothers.
Four brothers. Well, there were actually only three, so I guess that's not it. Sorry about that.
Kathy,
Kathy,
the Beach Boys.
the Beach Boys. That is a wonderful, excellent guess, but that's not it either. And I think there are actually four of them too.
And please remember, we're thinking about the title of this movie. But keep going. Okay.
All right. Next.
Patrick
Get
here.
through.
Hold on, Patrick.
Oh, Patrick.
Three Amigos.
Three Amigos. That's another great guess, but that's not it either. All right. Then I heard someone else.
Sandy and Hal.
Okay.
Hi, Sandhya here. Sonic cartoons, the Power Rangers.
No.
The Power Rangers. No, that's not it either. All right, we're going to move on to clue number 2.
Okay, good.
Clue number 2. Their voices were united by a silky timbre that was in their DNA.
This is Ned.
Ned.
Is it the Three Musketeers?
The Three Musketeers. I don't think they were brothers, but that would have been a great guess if they hadn't been brothers.
Did they sing? I don't know. Okay.
All right. Was there someone else trying to jump in there?
No.
That's
They're
somebody
all-
just clearing their throat. Okay. Clue
Dana.
number.
Dana, go ahead.
Dana, beat the buzzer.
The Three Stooges.
The Three Stooges. That
Wait,
is
hold
another good.
People, this is about singing. Did the Three Stooges sing?
I said it's about singing. I haven't said anything about singing.
They weren't brothers, I don't think, is how.
Okay. All right. Okay. Go ahead. All right. Sorry.
Yeah, I think one of them was a cousin.
Nikki?
Okay, moving on.
Move on.
Nikki.
Something about
Go
the
ahead.
Jonas Brothers?
The Jonas Brothers. That is another good guess.
Good
Those
guess.
are actually three brothers. All right.
So I'm not
Kathy.
sure whether we're looking for 3 or 4 anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think we are either.
The Bee Gees.
Okay. Who's that speaking?
It's Kathy.
Kathy.
The Bee
The
Gees.
Bee Gees. That's another great guess. And yes,
There were
you
three in-
got it. Ding, 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 ding. Way to go, Kathy.
I didn't think anybody was
Bee
going
What do I
to
win? What do I win?
How
Great.
can you
What
make
movie is that?
A broken heart. Very good.
Say the title again, sir. I think they didn't hear it.
The Bee Gees. How can you mend a broken heart?
All right.
I didn't even know that was a movie.
I didn't know that was a movie.
Well, you guys don't know everything.
You will
Apparently
find
not.
out this. You find out this weekend, Friday night. Be here.
Apparently we don't.
All right.
They pose such astute questions as what makes the world go round? How can a loser ever win?
Okay.
And how can you stop the sun from shining?
Okay, I'm
All
gonna.
right. Before everybody jumps in and starts singing.
No,
Bee Gees
please. We don't
song.
want that. Trying to preserve the quality of the call.
Can I ask
All
a
right.
question?
Yes, you can ask. a question.
I have a much more important
Is
question.
this
to ask.
Roy?
It's
Roy
Roy.
Eubanks?
Roy Eubanks.
Okay, go ahead.
Who won the women's volleyball?
Hey, watch it. Okay.
US. Well, that was the semifinals.
Okay,
They're
can
going
we
on
get
to the
back
final.
on the topic?
All right, coming up
Stop.
next.
Okay. You forgot to
All right,
ask.
Johnny, what's the prize for our winner tonight?
Kathy will be winning the wonderful leisure suit in iBUG colors. So I don't know if women wear them, but you
Leisure
will be
suit.
wearing them now. So yes, these are I guess they're bell-bottom pants, and you're just going to be quite the stylish one as you dance around your living room. Okay.
There isn't a cummerbund involved, is there?
No. And just to keep it with the 70s theme, you just enjoy your dancing shoes, and we will see
They
you.
actually started in the 60s.
Yeah, they did.
They were better in the 60s.
Oh, stop it. Okay. All right. Well, very
Everything
good.
was better in the 60s.
Thank you, Mr.
probably got some in
McCulloch,
his
for those
closet.
wonderful clues.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for playing. I can believe Malaysia.
All right. Are you going to say good night, Mr. McCulloch?
Good night.
I guess he's already went to sleep. All right. Very good. Thank you for playing. And now we will be returning to our regularly scheduled program. Okay. So everybody is muted. And now, if you did not have a chance to ask a question, we were moving pretty quickly, so we will slow down the traffic and we will now ask a question. Anybody wants to somebody new that hasn't had a chance, somebody new, please unmute and say your name. Lots of.
This is Sri.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I have a question. It's something that Brad mentioned, and I wanted to find out what is the benefit of doing invert color versus setting your phone in dark mode.
All right. Does anybody know? Or Brad, would you like to help us with that?
I was using invert color before dark mode came along. I never used dark mode because it's kind of got a mind of its own. Invert color, things are inverted all the time. And smart invert does not invert pictures and graphics, whereas classic invert inverted everything.
Okay, that's very interesting. Okay, Sri, hopefully that helps you. Very good. Thank you, Brad, and that's a great question. All right. Who's next? Yes, go ahead, Rose. What's your question?
Yes, my question is how to get your iPhone on a voiceover setting without Siri's help.
So your question is how to turn on voiceover without Siri?
Yes.
How to turn on voiceover without Siri.
This is Sri.
Go ahead, Sri.
So you have a couple of different ways then. Then you could go and open settings, accessibility, voiceover, and go to voiceover, turn it on.
Oh, you can get it. I thought maybe you can triple tap. And
Well, that was my
voiceover
second.
right over.
That was my second thing that I was going to say. You can triple tap either the home button or the side button to turn on voiceover, as long as that's the only one option in the shortcut.
Okay, your triple tap on the bottom. Yes. Okay, thank you.
All right, great question, Rose and Nick. Well, you already knew one of the answers, so good job there. I'm proud of
Yes.
you. Very good. All right. All right. Very good. Next, who has the next question?
Jody?
Yes, go ahead, Jody.
It's just a simple question. When you're looking at your list of text messages and messages, and you swipe up on one of the text messages, one of the options is pin. Is that the same thing as flag?
All right. Okay.
What is it when you pin a text message?
Great question. Anybody new that wants to explain the difference between pinning and what is the meaning of pin on a text message thread? Anybody? It's a hopefully somebody new would like to try answering a question.
This is Chanel.
Yeah. Okay, Chanel, go ahead.
So pinning, I don't know what it actually looks like, but it basically is being able to put conversations up at the top, and so you can get to them really quickly. And if you get lots of text messages, have lots of threads, it can be pretty useful. So you can, let's say, pin, well, I have Herbie's pinned at the top. I mean, yes, we live in the same house, but we still sometimes send messages back and forward. So, his are right there. So if I'm having other text message conversations, his would always still be at the top. And so once you, I guess was the question how to do that, or what
is the meaning of it? So I think you answered that. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Very good, Chanel. Thank you. So Jody, we
Oh,
hope
thank
that
you.
helps. And sometimes it does happen inadvertently, so you got to be careful.
Yep.
People end up pinned that you really didn't want to pin. So okay.
I've done that.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay. Thank you, Jody. Okay, Chanel. Very good. Who's next? Somebody new has a question.
This is Herbie.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
One other thing I wanted to mention that you do need to be aware of with the pin is, so when you get a new conversation from somebody in your pinned conversations, they stay in the same place. So like, if you have everybody unpinned and Sandhya sends you a message, well, now she goes to the top of your message window. But let's say you have 3 conversations with Chanel, Sandhya, and Michael, and Sandhya sends you that message, she's still going to remain in the middle. That's one thing you have to be aware of with a pinned conversation.
Okay. All right. Thank you,
Elisa?
Herbie. Okay, go ahead.
So that person that was pinned doesn't go to the top of the messages, because I did it before.
Herbie, or anybody want to talk about I guess the issue that you're talking about, Herbie?
So this
no,
is Herbie.
okay. So Elisa, what are you asking? Okay, yeah, go ahead, Herbie.
Yeah, I was going to ask what you're,
explain.
because a pinned person goes to the top, but what I'm saying is what you have to get used to is when you get new messages, the pinned people don't change positions. They're going to stay in the same place no matter what. And then any new conversations with unpinned people are going to appear after your list of pinned people.
Okay, just to clarify, so you have A, B, and C conversations up at the top, and
Yes.
I'm part of conversation B. Then I send a new message, even though my message is the most recent, it is still going to be in the second position. That's what you're saying. All right, and then everybody else who is not in a pinned conversation will appear below that. Okay, great.
Yep.
Thank you for that. That's great.
One other thing with pinning, and this is a lot simple, you can also pin groups as well, so you're not limited to just one person.
All right, that's great. Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, great. Okay, who's next? Somebody new with a new topic or new
This
question?
is Marty.
Marty, go ahead.
This only happens with my Amazon buds when I take them out of my ears and put them in the case, which would obviously mean that they're, turned off. They disconnect, but my voiceover for about 60 seconds it's real soft. It comes through the earpiece, and then all of a sudden it comes through the phone speaker like normal. But that's and it's only with that headset. All others, when I turn them off, or then voiceover comes through the phone speaker right away.
Okay.
But we'll know that it comes through the earpiece for about a minute.
All right, so
Any thoughts on what?
This is Brad.
Brad.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Brad.
I'm guessing when you take the Amazon buds out, they don't have an on-off switch. You put them in the case.
Right, but when I do the AirPods,
that's okay. That's different. I'm thinking it's just a difference in how the two work. That when you take the Amazon earbuds out and put them in the case, they don't immediately let go of the phone. Whereas the AirPods, they have different technology.
Okay.
And as soon as you take them out of your ear, they disconnect from the phone. And then once you put them in the case, they're in the case. But on all my AirPods, as soon as I take them out of the ear, they let go of the phone. The sound starts coming back out of the phone.
Right.
I don't have any of the Amazon ones. And my guess is if you take the Amazon ones out and don't put them in the case, but say just set them on the table, does the sound start coming out of the phone, or do you have to put them in the case?
No, I think they turn off because I think I have that setting, automatic ear detection.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I'm
I
still
will
thinking
check that though. Yeah.
I'm still thinking there's something going on in the way they work, that they're not
Mhm.
disconnecting from the phone as immediately as the AirPods do.
Okay. Yeah. It's a
Thanks.
delay there, a slight delay, or all right. Very good. Thank you for that question. Somebody new? Anybody else have a new question, problem, issue?
It's Kathy.
Go ahead, Kathy.
I have lots of problems.
Don't we all? Some that we can solve on this call, hopefully.
So I have my phone set on, like, as far as brightness mode, I have mine set pretty dim because I don't ever use the screen. But the other week, I had to hand my phone to the Costco guy because I had some email that was whatever, he needed to read it. And he said, this is really dim, or there's no contrast. First of all, my question is that something that's saving me a lot of battery life? Should I keep doing that? And is there a quick way to up the brightness, or should I just, because he held it for a minute and then he said he could see it or whatever, it clicked in and he didn't need to see it. But
Okay, so who would like to address the issue of brightness, does brightness, lowering the brightness save your battery? And is there a quick way to toggle
This is
that?
Jody.
Yes, go ahead, Jody.
Yeah, it definitely is going to save your battery life, and you can quickly change it by bringing up the control panel or the control center, whatever it is. By going to your status bar and then swiping up with 3 fingers, and brightness is one of the settings in there.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Great, Jody. Thank you.
Hi, it's Sandhya here. I also want to point out regarding bright. If you make it almost as dark as possible, guess what? Sighted people won't be able to see.
Right,
So,
that's right. Okay, great. Yeah, that's sort of the same idea of screen curtain is another way to do that. So
Right,
great. Thank you
right.
so much. Perfect.
This is Brad.
Okay, Brad.
My understanding is, as opposed to changing your screen brightness, screen curtain does not save battery power.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
It's a different thing, and you'd have to somebody
So
a
its
lot smarter
only
than me to
purpose
explain
is
it.
so its only purpose is to not let anybody read your screen.
Correct. But you could have
Really?
your brightness set on, say, 80, 90, 100%, turn on screen brightness, and it's still, the brightness is still set on 80 and 90. And I know that when I turn on screen brightness, for example, my wife, who apparently is like a cat and can see everything in the dark, says that she can still see my phone when it's on, when I turn on screen curtain, when I go to bed, because then I'll sit there and mess with my phone. If she wakes up or something, she says she could still see it. It's not as bright as normal because I keep mine set on to like 50%, but she says she can still see it.
Very interesting.
This is Marty.
Go ahead, Marty.
I have played around with that, and when I turned screen curtain off, my battery did go lower quite a bit more quickly than. And also, when I have screen curtain on, I actually went into Control Center and checked the brightness, and it said it was 0 when screen curtain was on. And then when I turned it off, it was well, I have the automatic mode where I think it's a little brighter at night than it is during the day. I used to, in my old phone, leave it at 100% all the time, but I have it at automatic mode now.
Hi, this is Sandhya here.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, this is Sandhya here. Yes, at 50% bright, we can still see it. But if you did it at 30%, some people with good vision is able to see it. But people who are visually impaired has a harder time to see the phone. So in other words, the lower the brightness, the better.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on. Okay, Kathy, we hope that helps you. All right, very good. Who has the next question? And just note that at the 9 o'clock hour, we have our iBUG segment, iBUG Bites. So we will be checking that out in just a few minutes. All right, who has a question? All right, so maybe Stephen, we will go ahead and start a little earlier than planned.
Okay, we
You
can do
are
that.
ready to go? Okay,
Yeah,
very
we
good.
can do
Thank
that.
you then.
Let me just bring up the phone on the volume here, or the
Thank you.
volume on the phone, something like that. Okay, so I've got a couple of things that I wanted to show you in the phone settings. They each are somewhat similar, that kind of the same concept, just different different things. And they are silence unknown calls and block a number. Now, why in the world would we want to block somebody's number? Well, in Sandhya's case, I wouldn't. But no, just kidding. You would want to block a number, especially if you get these scam calls, spam calls, things of that nature. Or somebody who maybe just isn't so annoying that there's no other way to do it, is to block them. But maybe you would rather do something else. And that is where the silence unknown calls feature comes in. If that person is not in your contacts, whatever number that calls you, it's going to go straight to your voicemail. You'll know it. It'll give a little message that pops up and gives the number, but it's not going to ring your phone. So if you're not into blocking people necessarily, you can do that feature as well. So I'm going to demonstrate both of them, kind of give you the pros and cons of each. And what I'm going to do now.
Utilities folder, 10 apps.
Is that loud enough, Sandhya?
Utilities, heading.
Sounds good.
Okay, good deal. So I'm going to go, I have utilities pulled up here. I'm going to go into my settings.
App settings. Settings.
All right. Now, phone settings is a little way down. So I'm going
News,
to
button.
see if I can.
Rows 21 to
Swipe
38.
down here.
FaceTime, button. Measure, button. FaceTime, button. Phone, button.
There we are. There's phone. I'm going to double tap
Allow
on
to
phone.
access. Heading.
All right, so I've got some headings here. I'm going to go down to the heading that says calls.
Calls, heading.
And I'm going to swipe a little bit here until I get to silence unknown calls.
What? Calls on. Respond with text. Call forwarding, button. Call waiting, button. Show my caller ID. Silence unknown callers, button.
All right, there you go. Okay, so if I double tap, it says on. Now, if I double tap, it's not going to turn it off just yet. It's just going to put me in that particular menu. So I'm going to double tap on silence unknown calls.
Silence unknown callers,
Okay, it shows it's on. Now, if I double tap it again, I can turn it off.
Off.
All right. So silence unknown calls is off. That means every call that comes in, whether it's in your contacts or not, it's going to ring. So you're going to know that somebody's calling you. If you don't want to do that and you want to silence calls that are not in your contacts, you simply double tap and you can turn it on. All right. So I turn it back on. So that means now, unless they're in your contacts, you'll still get the call, but it's not going to ring your phone. It'll just, like if your screen is locked, for instance, it'll get the notification, that says 512-555-1212, Austin, Texas, or what have you. But it's not going to ring your phone. So it's a little bit less annoying. Now, the disadvantage to that I have found is, what if you're expecting a call from someone and you don't know what the number is? Then in that case, you might want to go turn it off, at least until you get that call, or you're pretty sure that person isn't going to call you, because then you'll miss their call. Or the other thing you can do, which I've started doing, is you can go ahead and put that person's number, if you have it, into your contacts so that it will be there. And when they call you, then it will ring and you'll know they're calling. I've done this quite a bit because I interview a lot of athletes and coaches for stories that I do. I don't talk to them on a normal basis, so I wouldn't usually have them in my contacts, but I want to make sure that I don't miss their call if they should happen to call me for the interview. So that's what silence unknown calls is. Well, maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you just want to outright block somebody from calling you because they're harassing you, or you just get too many spam calls from the same number. You can do that as well. So I'm going to get out of here.
Settings.
Out of settings.
Transportation
And
folder.
I'm going to go to my phone here.
Dock. Phone.
All
Phone.
right.
Groups. Button.
All right. I'm going to go to my recents because I got a few spam calls today that I'd like nothing better than to just block them completely.
Tab bar. Recents. Tab. 2 of 5.
All right. So there I am in recents. Let's go to the
Recents. Heading.
top here and let's see what I've got here.
Plus 1 5 1 2 8 8 4 6 5 6 6. Incoming. Missed. 1 call. Austin. TX. August 2nd, 2021 at 7:22 p.m.
All right. So I don't know who that
Actions
is.
available.
They didn't leave a message. I'm pretty sure they're spam. So I'm just going to block them. So I'm going to swipe down.
Delete.
All right. I could delete it, but I don't want to do that. Delete it from recents.
More info.
All right. More info. That's what I'm going to double tap on.
Plus 1 5 1.
Okay. So I am in the more info thing here. Now, block call is way down at the end. So I'm going to tell you a little shortcut to get to. If you go to the tabs on the lower left-hand side.
Tab bar. Favorites. Tab. 1 of 5.
All right. That's where favorites is. If you just swipe once to the left.
Block this color.
It says block this caller. So it's all the way down on the bottom. You'd have to, if you were at the top, you want to swipe like quite a bit to get to that point. So just use that first tab on the left, favorites, and then swipe once left, and it'll say block caller. So I'm going to double tap on block caller.
Block this. Oh, you will not receive phone calls, messages, or FaceTime from people on the block list.
Okay, so it gave me a little pop-up. Says I will not receive calls or text messages from people on the block list. So I'm going to swipe once to the right.
Block contact button.
All right, it says block contact. That call is not in my contacts, so don't let that deceive you, okay? I'm going to double tap on block.
Unblock this caller.
Okay, so now it's put me where I could unblock it if I wanted to, but I have blocked it now. So you can also unblock it. You can go to the same place. You can go into the more info part of that phone number that you just heard, and then swipe or go all the way down until you see it'll say unblock caller. And then once you double tap it, it'll unblock it. So those are just a couple of ways to keep those pesky calls away. Sandhya?
All right, so just real briefly here, I think we can just 1 second here. So just for a minute, if anybody has a question, you will have to raise your hand, and to raise your hand, you'll do the Alt-Y on your Mac, Alt-Y on your PC, or Option-Y on your Mac, or a *9 on your iPhone. And there's a more option to unmute, to raise your hand within your iPhone. Okay, let's see here. One second.
While you're doing that, I might add one more thing.
Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, on the block calls, you can also block people in your contacts. I mean, you can do the same thing there. You'd say, why do you want to do that? Well, you'd be surprised. There have been a couple of people in my contacts I've had to block. So it's not just for numbers that are not in your contacts. You can block anyone, whether they're in your contacts or not. So just a couple of interesting ways. You know, there's pros and cons to either one. So you just kind of have to take your pick of which one works best for you. But I find that I use the silence unknown calls quite a bit now, more than I used to. So Do we have any questions or anything that anybody would like to
All right,
ask?
so you should be able to say your name if you have a question.
This is Herbie.
Go ahead, Herbie.
So one thing I definitely want to emphasize for any Houstonians that rely on Metrolift, I definitely do not recommend you use the first feature, the silence unknown callers, just because unless you know precisely when you're going to get call outs, you don't know a Metrolift, even if you get a true Metrolift call out, the phone numbers can range from some known ones to some unknown ones, so it's kind of impossible to put them in your contacts. And then sometimes at the last minute, your thing can be switched to a yellow cab, and so that's always going to come from an unknown number.
Right.
So I do not recommend people, I mean, I'm sure this may be the case for other paratransit systems as well. I don't know how your guys' work, but I could definitely tell you in the Houston area, if you rely on Metrolift, I would recommend you either do the block call method, or there are apps that can also block spam that are a lot better than the Apple's one size fits all solution. So that's what I have to say on that.
Yeah, that's a good point, Herbie, and that's why I pointed out in the first one, the silence unknown calls. One of the drawbacks is if you don't know if you're maybe expecting a call, or maybe you're not. It could be an important call, but you don't know where the number is coming from, like say paratransit services. You probably want to hesitate about muting it. That's why maybe blocking the calls as they come in might be a better option, at least if you know that it's a number that's probably not something you're going to use, or it's a spam call. So that's a good point. Any
All
other
right.
questions?
So yeah, if
Go ahead,
anybody else
Sandhya.
has a question, you can say your name. We're resuming our regular practice. You don't have to raise your hands. Go ahead. Say your name.
Kathy.
Go ahead, Kathy.
One of the things I worry about is if you choosing that option, if somebody's calling you in an emergency and maybe they're using someone else's phone. I mean, if you have somebody like that in your life, like I was thinking my husband, because I was picturing I could be out, lose my phone or leave it somewhere and be trying to call him from somebody else's phone. And if he had that option, he wouldn't ever get,
he wouldn't get through to you.
my call. But
Right. That's a good point also. Yeah. I mean, there are a number of different, risks obviously associated with that first feature. And that's why I wanted to feature both, because obviously, if one is riskier than the other, it doesn't work for you, then there are options to keep those calls at bay. But yeah, emergencies, that's another good point. Okay. Anybody else have a question or a comment? All right. Well, Sandhya, unless there's anything
is
else,
Sri.
you go ahead, Sri.
So good stuff here. Do you know what happens if I called you and I was blocked? What would my experience be?
If you were blocked?
Yeah.
It'd probably just blow your phone up. No, just kidding. It would go straight to voicemail. Now, what would happen is, it wouldn't necessarily tell me that I have a message from you, but if I go into my voicemail tab on the phone, like if I hit the phone icon, it will show me a folder of blocked messages, but I don't get a notification or anything that I have a voicemail from you. Now, if you text me, I'm never going to know. I don't know if, that text just goes, I don't think it actually sends the text because I never see it, at least not to my knowledge. But if you call me, it'll just go straight to voicemail, won't ring. And you can go ahead and leave a message, but I won't really know it unless I just happen to go into my voicemail and there's a folder, I believe it's called blocked folder or blocked senders, or something like that. And that's where your message will show up. So I'll see it, but I have to go look for it. All right. Any other questions? Okay, Sandhya, I think we're good.
All right, great. Thank you. That's definitely useful. I see. So we don't need to do the raise hand, but I think I see Brad. So go ahead, Brad. If you had a comment, go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
Hey, Sandhya, this is Sri.
Yeah.
I think we're getting a message saying you're blocking us from unmuting. I was getting
Really?
that told, yeah.
Okay, so now you should. All right, so we will keep it locked. All right, so just hold tight. Okay, so if you want to make a comment, go ahead and raise your hand. Sorry about this. So it's like the options that I mentioned. Who? Okay, Eva. So we can. Okay, so we can. We're gonna get to Eva first.
Would you like me to go ahead and field the
Yeah, go
question
ahead.
while you do
Yeah.
that? I'm sorry, I was
Yeah,
muted.
go,
I
yeah,
was
go ahead.
saying.
Mhm.
Eva, go ahead.
You have to unmute her.
You
first.
will have. Oh, I have to unmute her. Okay.
Yep.
I'm having some trouble myself trying to figure out. My own computer is doing some stuff here.
Okay, so Eva, you should get a note to saying that you can ask you to unmute. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Mine's a quick question. I'm gonna throw it against the wall, see if it'll stick. I don't know if we covered this a long time ago, but has anybody used Open Table to make reservations before?
Open Table.
It's an app.
Is that for like restaurant reservations?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. So if anyone has used that app, go ahead and we want them to raise their hands, Sandhya.
Yes, you can raise your hands to get to the question.
Okay. Yeah, so she's wanting to know about Open Table.
Open
which
Table,
is
I've
a
heard of it, but
restaurant reservations app.
Yeah, anybody good with that? Raise your hand.
Okay. Marty, I'm gonna.
So there's people with hands raised, but they had their hands raised before Eva asked her question. So I don't think they're there to answer Eva's question.
Okay.
Marty and Linda were waiting to ask a question also, although that's why we don't use raised hands. You can't tell the difference.
Yeah, because you can't tell the difference. Yeah, that's exactly
who's there
right.
to ask a question or to answer a question. So
Okay. So how would you like to handle
Whose
that?
turn is it, Steve?
Marty, did you have an answer to Eva's question, or were you wanting another question?
No, I wanted to ask you a question about your
Okay.
those two features. The first one, if you do silence, if you do invoke that first option, and you got a call, your phone would still respond to the call haptically, correct?
Yes.
In other words, if you had it in your pocket, you would just get a vibrate but no ring.
Yeah, for the silence unknown calls, it would you'd barely be able to tell, but it would give you a notification. It basically, if your screen is locked, or even if it's not, it just pops up with a notification, but it doesn't actually ring your phone.
It wouldn't do the vibrations like if you had it normal, but muted your sound.
You know, that's a good question. I haven't tried that. I mean, since I don't know when a call's coming in, I guess I'd have to be holding my phone to see if it actually does that. The only thing I've seen is that it gives you a notification when a call does come in.
Oh, okay.
So that's a good question, though. I'll have to see if I can find that out.
All right.
All
Thanks.
right, you bet. I'll go ahead and lower his hand. Okay. Do we have any additional raised hands?
Yes, we have Linda. So we're going to go to Linda next. We're going to be sending you a note real quick. Okay, Linda, you're going to get a note to unmute, and then you can ask a question.
I have a new question.
Great, go ahead.
Go ahead.
In my instant messenger or Facebook Messenger, when I get a message, it says I have 2 messages, but I actually just have 1 message. And it's happened like for a full day. And I don't know how to change it.
Okay. So anyone that has a question, a comment for that, if you want to go ahead and raise your hand, if we can. Unfortunately, I'm not able to hear who's raising hands, Sandhya.
Nikki's gonna. We'll take care of that. So Nikki says she's got an answer here.
Okay, I'll wait
Okay,
for
Nikki,
you to.
you can help us with that question for Linda.
Well, I hope.
Oops.
Oh, come back.
Thank you.
Nikki.
Just back went on mute there, Nikki.
Nikki, what happened to you? Okay, well, Sri might have a help.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sri. So we're just having.
Sorry, I couldn't hear the question, but I'm more than happy to help.
Okay, the question was about instant messenger. Go ahead, Linda. Could you repeat the question?
Yes, whenever I get an instant Facebook Messenger message, it says I have 2 messages, but I actually just have 1 message.
Okay, so so basically what you need to do is typically do you get a lot of like unknown messages come through?
No.
So it says that you had 2 messages, but you only had 1 active message.
Yes.
Interesting, because usually I've seen that when I've gotten like a like a sales pitch or a sales text message. Have you ever asked Siri to play your unplayed messages, and does it actually play 2 different messages?
Well, this is in Messenger. I've
Right.
never asked.
Yeah, you
I've
can
never
ask
asked
Siri. Yeah, ask when you get something like that. Ask Siri to play your unplayed message, your text message.
Oh, okay.
And it will tell you those messages. Because I'm a little uncertain that the fact that you said you got 2 separate messages, but you only see 1 unplayed message in all your messages, correct?
Right.
Yeah, I would be curious to ask Siri, play my unplayed message and see if it plays 2 different or if it's. Yeah, I would try that. That's a good question.
Okay. I mean, like after I listen to my message, there's no more messages there.
Is it possible there were 2 messages in that trail? I mean, I wouldn't.
No, because it's been happening for like a day with different people.
Uh-huh.
Different messenger messages. I just thought it was odd.
Do you have multiple devices?
No.
You just have 1 device?
Yes.
And you said it's happening frequently?
For like 2 days.
Interesting. You may want to try and turn your messages off and turn it back on and see if that resolves it. If you're getting these ghost messages.
Okay.
Okay, and I think Nikki might have her answer. Can you?
Well, I can try. And actually, I couldn't unmute myself again. I have this problem with my son-in-law all the time because he always sends me 2 text messages at the same time. So I get a message that says 2 text messages, and then I go in and I see that he's done it. He's done it in 2 parts. And I don't know exactly how that happens, but that's the way he always sends his text messages. So I don't know whether that has anything to do with it or not. But sometimes there might be a message of, like you said, unknown sender, but it's somewhere else and I don't know how to find them. I don't know how to find them, but that has happened to me a couple of times, and then eventually they'll show up. But anyway, that might be it. Who knows? Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other comments?
This is Herbie.
Go ahead, Herbie.
Linda, you're talking about Facebook Messenger, not text messages, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. So, I don't think Siri can play those messages. I think it's limited to just text messages. I could be mistaken. But what I'm thinking you're having is you could have a message request, and those appear when somebody who is not in your contacts is sending you a message. And it could actually be a legitimate person, depending on your settings. So you might want to check at the top of your screen. I forget where it is, but it's usually like there's something that says either message requests, or otherwise you're gonna have to like find it in the settings. I can't remember off the top of my head where it's at, but that's what I'm thinking you're experiencing. And the other thing you can do is don't get fooled. One of the things Facebook Messenger does is it says active now. And, so you could have a new message from somebody that was last active on Facebook like 48 minutes ago, and have, a red message from somebody who is currently active on Messenger as of like 5 minutes ago. So don't get fooled with the active now screen or anything like that. But I think if you don't have any message requests, the other thing to do is just, unless you need them for any reason, is delete all your conversations and see if you still experience the phenomena. But I think you might possibly have like a message request.
Okay,
All
great.
right.
Thanks.
Brad has a comment. Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, I was going to comment. Nikki asked she didn't understand why her son-in-law's text messages were in multiple parts. I suspect he's using an Android device and Nikki's using an iPhone with iMessage turned on. That tends to happen when you receive long messages from someone with an Android device.
All right. Next question is David. Go ahead, David. We'll have to unmute.
Can you unmute, David?
If he's still there, he should be able to unmute. All right, until David is ready, we will, let's see. David, are you able to say anything? No. Okay, we'll come back to David. In the meantime, we'll go to Patrick. Okay, Patrick, you should be able to unmute and then you can ask your question.
Okay, thank you. Hey, Steve, thanks for the demo. How did you make those? Actually, where did you make those changes? I kind of missed where you went in your phone to do that.
The changes?
Yeah, for like the silence the calls and stuff.
Yeah, what you do is you go into settings, then you go into your phone settings, and then when you double tap on phone settings, there's a group of headings. You can either just swipe to the right or swipe down in the headings rotor to where it says calls. You need to swipe a little bit to the right, and it'll say silence unknown calls, and it'll tell you if it's on or off. Now, when you double tap, it doesn't toggle yet. It just puts you in that position to toggle. So that's where you find it.
Excellent. Oh, thank you so much.
Sure, you bet. Thank you.
All right. Okay, who has the next question? You are able to raise your hand, please. And just to review, Alt-Y if you're on a PC, if it's under the More for if you're on the Zoom app. Sorry we had to do this, but anybody else have a new question? And Brad, David, you had a question, you need to raise your hand. Terry Ann, okay.
Terry Ann. Okay.
All right, Terry Ann, you should be able to unmute.
I just want to point out that oftentimes now these scammers are so clever that what they do is they use phone numbers from like throwaway phones. And once they use that number, they then get rid of that phone. And so when you go to block scam calls, sometimes that may or may not be a helpful thing to do, because that phone number may not, be used again. I don't know. The phone companies, I think, are going to have to do something. And then they have all these blocks of numbers that they don't give out because they want to save them for people who need a new number and that sort of thing. But it's a real problem.
Yeah, that's a good point. It is a real problem. And one of the other things I failed to mention, one of the drawbacks of blocking calls is, if they use a spoof number, well, more than likely, what if somebody from that number eventually calls you? That's a real number. Like let's say they scam, 555-4545. Well, what if that person that really has that number tries to call you and it's blocked? To my knowledge, you wouldn't get the call because you blocked that number.
Correct.
So it's there is no foolproof solution. I'll just tell you that. Probably should have said that at the outset.
This
Go ahead, Sandhya.
Sorry.
No.
My question is, okay, it's like my poor dad, he's 90 years old and gets all these garbage calls. So I know I get a notice on my phone, potential spam. So I know you said something about blocking unknown callers. Is there a way to, like, once you've, I don't know, could I do something to block that so I don't even see it? I don't want to know about it even. I don't know.
I don't think so. Where I know some calls that show up, it says unknown. Is that what you're talking about?
On my phone, it says potential spam. So.
Yeah. I think if you went into his recents, sometimes the number will show up there, and you can block it that way. But like if it's an unknown where it says number unknown or caller blocked, those numbers are hard to block because they don't show up anywhere.
Right.
You can't. So sometimes though, if it says spam risk or whatever, if you go into your recents, like if you don't answer it, and it should be under missed calls, sometimes the number itself will be there, and you can block it that way. If anybody else wants to weigh in, I maybe.
I think
maybe I'm
Sri
missing
wants
something,
to
but I
make a
think so.
comment. Go ahead, Sri. Should be able to unmute. You are already unmuted.
Yeah.
Sri? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, go
we
ahead.
can now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I was just going to say, I have Verizon, excuse me, Verizon also filtering my calls. It was something that I signed up with Verizon Wireless. And I think I mentioned this before. It was free. I used to use No More Robo. And what they do is they get an algorithm of numbers that they see have been randomly called with high frequency. And they put that as a spam call because, you usually don't have one number call 500 times or
Right.
whatever algorithm that they use. So they use that to block. And where I used to work, I used to run dialers. And these are very sophisticated equipment. And, you can pretty much put any number you want. And so it's very difficult to catch up because they're just always one step ahead. But I also mentioned, I think in September, all the wireless companies have to go to Congress and give them a solution as to what they're going to do to prevent these calls. So they've gotten sophisticated. They spam me with my own number. I got called by my
I've had
own
that
number.
happen too.
So they're getting smart too. So it's a tough one.
I will also mention that, with some of the carriers that have their own blocking apps, like AT&T has one that I used for a while. One of the problems that I had, though, is it was blocking numbers that were in my contacts without me blocking them. Like both my kids, for example. That's when I quit using it. So, there's the danger there is that, it may block a lot of those numbers, but if it starts just randomly blocking somebody in your contacts because they think it's spam. That's when I quit using it.
Yes. All right. Well, very good
This is Sri.
discussion. Yes. Go ahead, Sri.
I was just gonna say, you can try, I think No More Robo. It's relatively inexpensive. Try it for a month, see if it helps you. Because when I used it, I think my spam call went down from a lot to maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So that it does work. So if it's really a nuisance, maybe try it out for a little bit.
Okay,
Yeah,
and with
good
that,
point.
thank you, Stephen, and everybody, and for your patience. And we are going to wrap this call up. Thank you so much. And we have lots of events. Just visit our website, ibugtoday.org, under the upcoming tab. So we hope to see you at any and all of our events. And we thank you for your participation. And we will see you soon. Thank you all. Good night. Thank you, Stephen.
Good job, Sandhya. Good
Bye.
job.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good job, guys.